We're here to bring a new type of news show.
New insights, new styles, and new topics every day.
We are News Generation.
Bringing news just for you. It's Monday, June 23 here in Seoul. I'm Lee Soo-jin, and this is News Generation. Joining us today is Kwon Ji-yeon.
Happy Monday, Soo-jin.
Happy Monday to you too. And Niall's also with us.
Hello, everybody.
Hi. And both are here to speak on behalf of people in their 20s and 30s. It's Monday, and we're kicking off the week with a discussion on relations between Korea and Japan, a topic that has remained sensitive and significant across generations. Yesterday, June 22nd, marked the 60th anniversary of the normalization of diplomatic ties between the two. Ji-yeon, can you tell us more about the significance of this day?
Of course. Well, June 22nd, 1965, it marked a turning point in modern history. That's when South Korea and Japan officially established diplomatic ties by signing the Treaty on Basic Relations. It ended a 20-year diplomatic vacuum following Korea's liberation from Japanese colonial rule. So in order to mark this 60th anniversary, both countries held special cultural events, including 종묘 체reak in Tokyo and modern dance performances in Osaka. Together, these events mark a meaningful step forward in fostering cultural harmony between Korea and Japan.
So like you said, there has been active cultural exchanges between the two countries. What do they look like right now, Niall?
Recently, due to the global Korean wave, also known as Hallyu, it has been booming, and Japan is not an exception. And in particular, Korean culture is spreading widely. Let's start off with K-food. Shinramen, we love Shinramen here in Korea. Shinramen's Toomba launched in Japan, and it sold out 1 million units in just 2 weeks after its release. And actually, a Shinramen store opened in Harajuku, Tokyo, the heart of Tokyo. And things like frozen dumplings, kimbap are also very popular amongst the younger generation. And let's move on to K-beauty. It's also gaining popularity all over the world, but particularly in Japan. And Japan is emerging as the third largest export market for Korean cosmetics. This has led to active expansion efforts by small and medium Korean companies that work with K-beauty products. K-pop and Korean content is also becoming, has been very popular. And recently, this has led to a new trend called 한본어. 한국어, 일본어, combined 한본어, and it's been increased in usage amongst the younger generation. And for example, so in Japanese, when people say maji, it's like, really, are you serious? And then 고마워, the Korean for thanks. So to say thank you very much, thanks a lot, 마지 고마워 is how the younger generation would say thank you to each other. It's the new lingo for the millennials and Gen Z. And so this is an influence due to K-pop, K-idols, K-dramas, webtoons, lots of different contents coming from Korea.
And also, Japanese dramas and music has also become quite popular in Korea. Just on the way to work today, I was actually listening to one of my favorite Japanese music artists, Fuji Kaze. I don't know if you've heard of him. So also you can tell how like Japanese music for me was actually what made me realize how you can appreciate music without even understanding the language of it. So you can see their influence as well. Can you tell us more about this, Ji-yeon?
Yes. Well, young Koreans here also embrace and enjoy Japanese culture a lot. Since the 1990s, culture exchange has grown steadily. In fact, when I was in high school, I joined an exchange program in Japan. People were very, very friendly and liked the peaceful culture. So some of my friends even went to university in Japan because thanks to the program. So we grew up with both educational, about the past, and personal experiences with modern history. So today's MZ generation grew up with Japanese animation and pop culture like Crayon Shin-chan, Slam Dunk, and Pokemon, making Japan feel quite familiar to their lives. And it's a great thing, it's a good thing that today's generation can enjoy content from both sides without much cultural resistance. Many travel there frequently, including myself, and lately Korean youth find comfort in Japan's slow-paced and emotional coming-of-age dramas. One example is My Beloved Stranger is gaining popularity here. This generation is used to engaging with Japanese content in various forms. Like even on shorts, Japanese songs and memes are quite trending. And well, it's a little bit embarrassing, but since our 작가님 our writer asked me to sing a little bit of that meme, it's yes, but I'll try. 조금은 또 요리 뭐 안하다 or 아니다. Anal is very good, but it says like that. Yes, and if you are interested, please check out the meme.
I love that. Check out repeat of it.
Yes.
So like you said, like Korean drama, Japanese dramas are also really popular. I actually watched one too. It's called An Incurable Case of Love. And yeah, I loved it because it's like a typical rom-com and it has the popular like trope that you also see in Korean dramas where the female character is really energetic and sweet while like the male character is really cold and distant, but then they grow closer together. So you can kind of see how there's
tsundere.
Exactly. So that's I guess why these are popular in both countries. So with all these cultural exchanges going on, what's the current public perception of each other in both countries now?
Obviously, due to a lot of these positive impact, there's been changes. But let's take a look at the screen. In recent years, positive sentiment towards Korea has been rising in Japan. According to a survey conducted last year, the proportion of respondents who felt friendly towards Korea rose by 3.5% to 57%. But this is actually to all ages. What's significant is that, in particular, 73% of the people in their 20s felt that they felt friendly towards Korea. And as we just mentioned, a lot of the soft powers, the cultural exchange have probably influenced that.
Right, also more flights have been added, and now from January to May, Korean visitors to Japan actually hit an all-time high. And also that's probably why for the Japanese tourism agency, they're planning to have attract like 60 million international visitors by 2030, which is, you can show what a big business it is for them too. So Juyeon, do you have anything to add to this?
Yes, of course. Well, Nal has mentioned that young Koreans have more welcoming attitude toward Japan. And according to recent surveys, more than 60% of Koreans in their 20s said they feel positively toward Japan, while only about 35% of those in their 70s responded the same, highlighting a clear generational gap here. Overall, Korean perceptions of Japan have been gradually improving, and around 80% of Koreans now say they believe strong Korean-Japan relations are quite important. So now let's take a look at this chart. It shows how Koreans' perception of Japan has changed over time. Back in 2013, only 12% of respondents had a friendly view of Japan, and that number rose to 32% by 2019. And most recently, in 2024, it has reached 42%. Thus, although historical tensions remain, public sentiment is clearly improving step by step. The numbers are rising, and so is the hope.
Right, so we can kind of see that this shift in sentiment could open the door to even more exchanges that turn into shared experiences through travel, media, or simply a growing curiosity about each other's everyday lives. So after the break, we'll chat with someone who's living that connection, a Japanese millennial who's built a life here in Korea. That's coming up next, so stay tuned.
NewsGen wants to hear from you. Go to YouTube and search our channel Arirang News. Click Community and leave a comment down below. Make a new type of news with us.
Joining us today is Chihiro Kim, who's a Japanese millennial living in Korea. Hi, Chihiro. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for having me.
So just to introduce you to our viewers, how long has it been since you moved to Korea?
I've been living in Korea for 10 years now.
Wow, okay. So can you tell us how you ended up moving to Korea real quick?
I just got married to Korean husband, so that's brought me here.
I see. So how big is the Korean wave in Japan right now, and what part of it seems to be the most popular? Is it K-pop, is it K-dramas, or is it K-fashion?
Yeah, the Korean waves has really taken root in Japan. It's just no longer just a temporary trend. It feels like a part of everyday life. And of course, K-pop and K-dramas are still hugely popular. But if I had to point out one of the biggest areas that has grown over the past 10 years is K-beauty industry in Japan. And for example, there's a popular store in Japan called Sony Plaza, and it's everywhere in Japan, and which sells cosmetics and snacks similar to Olivier in Korea. And about 20% or even 30% of the cosmetics section is now filled with K-beauty products, and something you wouldn't have seen 10 years ago. And also, I was surprised when I recently returned to Japan and noticed how many hair salons are now promoting Korean style hairstyle. And Korean food has also become much more accessible, like you said before. And in the past, you had to go to the specific neighborhood to buy Korean ingredients. But now you can just buy kimchi and frozen, Korean dumplings everywhere, literally everywhere in local supermarket in Japan. So I would say that's how deeply Korean culture has become a part of daily life in Japan.
K-wave in Japan. So do a lot of young Japanese people travel to Korea? Then what places are especially popular among them?
Yeah, so as I said, I've been living in Korea for 10 years now. So I had many friends and family members visit me over the years. And of course, Myeongdong is still popular. But these days, because of social media, I guess, Seonsu has become the most popular spot to visit. And because it has cute cafes and boutiques and everything. And what I found these days is that more and more Japanese people are visiting Korea multiple times. So some of my friends would go, oh, I just gonna skip Myeongdong and Seonsu. I just go to local place in a hidden gem. And with the rise of auto translation apps, Japanese people are getting more confident when traveling in Korea. So actually, one of my friends recently visited Korea. She takes solo trip and she just went to regional cities in Korea. And and I've noticed a lot of visitors still come to buy cosmetics in Korea. But more recently, some even go to pharmacies to buy, treatment or whitening creams. And again, usually based on what they've seen on social media. And honestly, many of them know more about K-beauty trend than I do.
You mentioned that your friends who are traveling to Korea are now becoming more local. They want to see the real Korea. And you've been here for 10 years. So how about you tell us what really stands out from your perspective? What's special about Korean culture, cuisine, or, products?
I think one of the things I find especially fascinating is about living in Korea is the 빨리빨리 culture, the idea of doing everything quickly. And for example, delivery service are super fast compared to Japan. And if you order something in the morning, it usually arrives by the evening. That's very normal in Korea. And food delivery service is also a regular part of daily life, and which is super fast again. And they even have cooked baby food delivery service, so that gives you an idea of, how common it is. And trends also change very quickly, so you never get bored living in Korea.
I see. Thank you.
Right, hearing you talk about the bari culture, I think made all of us laugh today. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your insight with us today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So we've just heard from a millennial from Japan sharing her perspective on what cultural exchanges between Korea and Japan look like today. But there is still work to be done to bridge the gaps and deepen understanding between the two countries. Jiyeon, can you tell us some of the key issues that still need to be resolved?
There are very sensitive issues between two countries. We must remember that Korea and Japan share a painful history, especially due to Japan's colonial rule. Issues such as forced labor and the conflict with women remain highly sensitive. And the territorial dispute over Dokdo Islands has also been a long-standing source of tension. While cooperation and harmony are quite important. We should not overlook the unresolved historical issues. Back in 2019, Japan's export restrictions under Prime Minister Shinzo Abe led to a major no-Japan boycott in Korea. People in Korea did not consume any products from Japan. They did not travel to Japan back in the days. And that reflects how quickly ties can become emotionally changed. And sometimes we don't see eye to eye, and that's precisely why open dialogue and empathy are very, very important. History matters, and so does how we choose to move forward, isn't it?
That's very right. So like you said, it's still a very complex relationship that is shaped by the past, but still being written in the present. And that's why it's important to acknowledge both the progress and the pain, because both continue to influence how people feel today. Niall, do you have anything to add to this?
Right, Juyeon really mentioned it. There's historical, cultural, and territorial conflicts that are very, very hot buttons to this day. And I agree that these issues are not something to be overlooked. But as in relationships, sometimes just continuing to talk about the conflicts over and over is not the best solution, but really focusing on what we appreciate about each other to keep moving forward. And hopefully that dialogue will come back naturally eventually.
Right, so what do you think Korea-Japan relations will look like in the future? In what areas do you see more cultural exchanges happening? Do you want to go first?
Yes, of course. Well, looking ahead, I see hope for Korea and Japan relations for the future. The past will never vanish, but the present is full of potential. Rumor has it that more joint projects, more programs, entertainment programs are already in the pipeline, from pop culture to academic exchange. We have many reasons to build trust and few excuses not to. Every culture exchange is a small act of peace. There's no need to wait for perfect conditions. Just take the next step together. Let's keep moving side by side. You know, peace doesn't need passports.
Right.
Yeah, well said. And I mean, today we talked about a lot of the younger generation's movement towards positive sentiment, and a lot of it really is the soft power, the cultural exchange, and hopefully this will continue and the soft powers will seep into our daily lives. And hey, that's a fun task that we're given, to enjoy each other, learn more about each other, and I pray that Korea and Japan will become even more powerful allies in a bigger sense, as well as the smaller daily sense, and with the most cordial sentiments towards each other in the future.
Right, that's very well put, and I agree with both of you that I also think Korea-Japan relations will continue to improve, especially among the younger generations. And already I read an article this morning actually about how there is a booming business in Japan because there's so many Korean tourists in Japan. They have a business where they actually book little train tickets or like trips to the Ghibli Museum for Korean tourists. And while before that used to be just for it used to be a very small business, or like usually Korean students that were living in Japan were doing it, but now it's become an actual full-on industry. So you can kind of see how this continues to grow. So while some unresolved issues and political tensions still cast a shadow over the relationship, it's important to recognize that many people on both sides are actively seeking common ground and appreciating each other's culture. And it may be these exchanges that ultimately help the two countries move beyond conflict toward a more cooperative future. And that's all we have for this episode of News Generation. But News Gen will be back tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Korea time. Big thanks to Juyeon.
Thank you for having me.
For coming in, and Niall.
No problem.
For both joining us today. And to all our viewers, thanks for watching, and we hope you have the best day. We are
News Generation.